Amazing internet discoveries! Scientists at IBM have figured out a way to encode data onto a single atom, which is the most compact information storage ever achieved. They used holmium atoms embedded on a magnesium oxide base and manipulated the atoms with a scanning tunneling microscope. This allowed them to encode the data on those atoms and then read the same data later. By running a voltage of 75 millivolts through the atoms, the microscope can detect whether the atoms are facing up or down. However, running a slightly larger voltage, like around 150 millivolts, can actually change the orientation of the atoms, and from this, researchers can encode binary data based on the atom's orientation. It will be a long time before this type of tech makes it to your laptop, since scanning tunneling microscopes are very large and expensive machines. Still, maybe someday you might be storing your favorite music or vacation photos on individual atoms. The Hyperloop One company has released updated information on the Hyperloop transportation test system in Nevada. Located 30 minutes from Las Vegas, the Hyperloop test structure is 500 meters long with a diameter of 3.3 meters. The Hyperloop test track is the first that could support a full-scale pod to carry people and cargo. The system should be put to use in the coming months for the first full system test of the Hyperloop. A new study at UCLA has shown how the brain is 10 times more active than previously measured. The research focused on the structure and functions of the dendrites, which are components of neurons, the nerve cells in the brain. If you can imagine a neuron like a large tree-like structure, the body of the tree would be called the soma, and the numerous branches would be called the dendrites. Scientists had generally believed that the somatic spikes activate the dendrites, which passively send currents to other neuron somas, but this had never been tested before. Instead, the UCLA research team found that the dendrites are electrically active in animals that are moving around freely, generating nearly 10 times more spikes than somas. In studies with lab rats, the research team developed a new technique that involves placing electrodes near the dendrites rather than directly on them. This allowed them to monitor the measured dendrites' activities for up to 4 days in the rats that were allowed to move freely within a large maze. What the researchers found is that the dendrites had approximately 5 times as many spikes while the rats were sleeping, and up to 10 times as many spikes while they were exploring. This study can change scientists' understanding of how brains work and could lead to new approaches for treating neurological disorders and for developing computers that think more like humans. Scientists at the U.S. Department of Energy Argonne National Laboratory have invented a new foam called Oleo sponge that can absorb oil from water and is reusable. The scientists had found a way to adopt a technique called sequential infiltration synthesis to grow a thin layer of metal oxide coating near the foam's interior surface, which would serve as the perfect glue for grabbing oil. The team is looking to actively commercialize the product and hopes that the Oleo sponge will be used to routinely clean harbors, ports, and used for disaster oil spills. And that's it for this episode. If you enjoyed the video, you can like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.